Sports Extra. From 7 to 8 p.m., highlights of local sports around the Cayman Islands. Sports Extra.
It's amazing to see the improvement of the team.
Sports Extra, keeping you informed.
And good night. It's 7:01. You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. And at this time, we have a special program tonight here on Radio Cayman. It's an American football special featuring Radio Cayman's Loxley Banks. And soon we'll be joined by the Honorable Ralston Anglin to get in on the football action. And introducing now our primary host, Mr. Loxley Banks.
Well, JJ, thank you for that introduction. I guess, as you have said, it will be mainly, talking about the upcoming U.S. College Football Championship game, which happens actually on the 19th, actually, which is a week from last night, in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. And over the years, Miami has been termed the Cayman Islands' twin city or sister city, and so there's a lot of University of Miami alumni is here. And of course, we'll be just taking a brief look at the Cayman Islands sports highlights, maybe over the last 70, 80 years, because, even with the just recent, within the last week, the accomplishment of the sprinter, Devontae Howell, who stormed into the 26th season with authority, clocking a blistering 6.49 seconds to win the men's 60 meters at the Clemson Invite. And that's Clemson College up in North Carolina. He had this to say, actually, about his performance. Honestly, it feels great to set a new national record and to open up the season that fast as well. I didn't expect it to come this soon. I didn't expect it, especially to dip under the 6.5 this soon. Being the world's leader, that's just something that comes with it. That's not really an expectation I set for myself. And, as I said, Cayman has had many really successful sports people over the years, dating back to the mid-40s, I guess.
And Mr. Banks, are we going to touch anything on the American Pro Football Series? Because it's a little game that's coming up shortly here. I think it's called the Super something or the other.
It's the Super Saucer, Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be an interesting season, both in the collegiate and also the professional ranks.
Yes, and I think the odds on for the teams that will probably, or they're saying will probably be in the Super Bowl, is the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos. That's what the odds are on presently, but of course that could change over the next 3 weeks.
Well, now we're going to take a quick break here. We're still waiting for the Honorable Ralston Anglin to join us here in studio. We'll be back with more of Radio Cayman Sports Extra in a moment.
Radio Cayman News.
A swimming instructor changes his plea to charges of possessing child pornography.
Is facing serious charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder.
This is about protecting rioters, pedestrians, and every other road user.
We're here, young people, because of you. This unveiling is because of you.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
7 days a week.
The National Road Safety Committee is reminding the public that e-bikes, scooters, and similar transport devices are covered under Cayman's traffic law. This includes electric and pedal assist e-bikes, electric scooters, seated scooters, mopeds, segways, and other motorized personal transport devices. If a device is mechanically powered and used on a public road, it is treated as a motor vehicle under the law. Riders must be at least 17 years old, hold a valid Category 0 or Category 2 driver's license, and ensure the device is roadworthy, registered, licensed, and insured. Vehicle inspections are available at DVDL's Crew Road and Breakers locations. Enforcement of existing laws begins January 16. Details are available at dvdl.gov.ky.
Satisfaction.
satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
And we're back on to Radio Cayman's special football coverage show here with Mr. Loxley Banks. And we continue now with the program, talking about what the late Andy Griffiths used to say. It's called football.
Yeah, well, with lots of activity coming up here over the next, I guess the Super Bowl is in February the 3rd, I believe, or somewhere, early February. So you got, as I mentioned before, we got the college championship game next Monday evening between Miami and the University of Indiana. And, Miami really had difficulty getting into the 12-team playoff round. But they got in and, they stormed their way up to the national championship game, which, as we said, comes up next Monday evening.
On the 19th, right?
19th, yeah.
It's amazing because there was only a few of us in the studio here a few months ago that was predicting that the University of Miami would amount to anything this season. And looks like another miracle run for them. They've done it every 20 or 30 years. They'll have a miracle season.
Well, their coach has been building what they say is a championship team there over the last three years. And it's actually, there was big controversy running up to the end of the actual regular season as to whether they would put Miami or Notre Dame into the playoff 12-team round. And I think was their first game in this season, they beat Notre Dame. So, the general consensus was, well, whatever it comes down to, you have to look at head-to-head competition. And I think that was what kind of propelled Miami into the 12-team competition.
So over the last couple of weekends, tell us how we got to where we're at today, because I believe that Indiana had to beat somebody very good, and also the Hurricanes, I think they recently beat Oregon State, was it? To get to where they're at today.
Well,
how did the last couple of weekends go?
No. Well, once the playoff scheme started, the Hurricanes played Texas A&M for the first game, which, and that was, I would think, considered one of the toughest games within the 12-team playoff run. And they went out to Texas, and they was victorious out in Texas, and then came the.
So they didn't even have home team advantage or home field advantage for that one.
It was played at Texas A&M, which in their home stadium, and that was before something like 104,000 people.
Wow!
And the legend in Texas A&M football lore is the 12th man. But
that's the way it usually works out. If you got 100,000 rooting for your team and about 4,000 rooting for Miami,
you got an advantage there. But they were victorious, and then they had to play Ohio State, which for I guess the 98% of the season was the number one team in the country until. In their championship game, that is Big Ten, I think is what their league is called, against Indiana. I think they lost to Indiana. So and then, well, they were victorious in the game over Ohio State. And, that's one of Mr. Anglin alma mater.
Yeah,
he graduated from out there. So.
Yeah, that's the team he was pushing for every season. Yes. He pushes for them.
Well, that's his alma mater, so
Yeah, you got to root for where he went, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, like I said, they were number one for just about all of the season. They were preseason number one, and they stayed there until the championship game when they lost to Indiana University,
and that's why Indiana is now ranked number one.
Yes,
I think the Hurricanes were ranked at like number 10, and
either 10th or 12th.
Yeah, at one point I saw them at 10th.
Yeah, well, actually, the first of the year they were ranked. They went up to number 2, but then they had a string of 2 losses, back-to-back losses, and they went down in the polls and then worked themselves back up to, I think, like you say, number 10 position. But talking about Cayman sports legends, they were throughout time, and I guess we can look back to the mid-40s. There were Caymanians at E-Banks actually down in Texas, in the Port Arthur area, playing top high school football. And he actually graduated and went to Texas A&M. He played, I think it was halfback for Texas A&M. And that's some 70 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're going to have I think a little 4-minute clip coming up here in a little bit of 2 Caymanians who played championship high school football in the Miami area. That would be from a program that we did, I guess, probably 10 years ago, when we talked with one of them. I think he's still living up there in Florida, mid Florida, and the other one, of course, lived in Cayman. He has since gone on, but it was, and people in Cayman, when they heard that interview, they hadn't known that there were Caymanians playing at that level, in high school in Florida or anywhere else. And I think the Honorable Mr. Ralston has just, as the Dean would say, snuck it into the to the studio here, Raleigh.
What's the old Elvis has left the building? In this case, Ralston has entered the building.
Yes.
Oh boy. Well, sorry for being late. I think my good friend Loxley here knows I was in caucus. In fact, caucus is still going on. But I did tell them that my commitment to coming on this show, we've done this not every single year, and then some years we've done the preview, some years we've done the preview to the championship. Been a bit of a mishmash, but first one was what? About 20?
Yeah, it was before.
About 20 years ago?
Yeah.
And so anytime I get this chance, I want to come on because, anytime that our good friend calls, I feel obligated to come. But this year, because his Hurricanes kicked my Buckeyes, you know what, but if I didn't come on, that would really look bad. That would look as though I was being a bad sport. And so I have to congratulate him, first of all, that his Hurricanes defeated my Buckeyes. I take it on the chin. But I must say, JJ, it's a bit much for me to walk in and find him with the Hurricane hat on. I mean, the cap on. I mean, that's a bit much,
Well, just before you came in, we were talking about the what led up to today and the positions and unfortunate loss for Ohio State and the Seattle getting beat by the Hurricanes, which wasn't predicted, and they were all the way down to 10th place in the season after those early losses, and then they're making a little miracle run here.
Well, a friend of mine looked up the preseason odds. Guess what the preseason odds were for the Hurricanes to win the championship?
About 20-1?
10,000 to 1, apparently, is what he told me last night. So, they came in the season as heavy underdogs, and not a whole lot, I guess, expected of them. But this is what the transfer portal does.
Yes,
we've talked about this many times, right? It really
balance thing up.
Yes, it's a curse and a blessing in college sports. I hope that they can get just a little more tightening of it. I don't think you should be able to transfer after every semester and the portal opening as often as it is, because it really causes chaos. I think it should be kind of like the NFL.
Yes.
In most sports. Portal open once a year, player movement, close it back.
Yeah,
one window,
Yeah.
Yeah, the way it is now, it's just a little chaotic. Because,
Yeah. Because to give you an example, right, a lot of teams, once they don't make the college football playoff, their players now their best players rarely play in bowl games because the portal opens right away and they're not going to risk injury. If you know you can transfer, and let's just say you were on a $500,000 deal, but you had a great season, you can up that to $1 million deal by going to a bigger school or a school that needs your position more. Why would you go and play in a bowl game now and risk all that? Right? So some of the very best players for years now have not even participated in bowl games. So, I hope the NCAA can tighten that up. And I'll tell you one, Locke, you tell me what you think. We knew that short term they were going to protect the traditional bowls because that was the quid pro quo to get agreement on the playoff. But I think widely now the playoff has been accepted, and it's a wonderful thing. The new push and the new call, and I think the next round of iteration of change needs to be closer to real sports, and that is whoever the higher ranked team is plays at home. Because now only the first round gets a home game. And then after that it goes to bowls, which is all neutral site. I can buy the Super Bowl, the championship game being rotated on a neutral site every year. But I think that needs to be the next wave.
That sounds like a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Because Loxley was talking about when the Hurricanes were in Texas in front of 104,000 people, and most of those were not Miami fans.
Right. So Texas A&M got home field advantage in the first game. After that, everybody was playing on neutral fields, and it should be, to me, every round up until the championship, it should be in the higher ranked teams stadium, so that that gives that college that not only you get home field advantage, but it gives you the benefit of why your team has done well over the years, and
too,
and the finances, etc.
And I think they need to do a little cleanup as far as, because Duke won the ACC championship.
Yes.
Yeah. But they were locked out of the playoff scheme.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that, because unlike the NCAA where there's 6 to 4 teams, along with 4 or 8 now want to play in, I kind of like that. Given the fact that college only goes to 12, you really need to get the 12 best teams. I mean, the other thing that is going to naturally be a conversation is, look, for the last 2 years, the weakest team has really, really been the winner of the lowest ranked conference. And I mean, in this year, that game was not even competitive.
Yeah, that was one against James Madison.
Right.
Yeah.
And last year it wasn't competitive.
Yeah.
So there is tweaks that needs to be done, but this certainly is the best solution so far, because we get a playoff. And again, I just sort of tip my hat to my good friend Locke and say, I was feeling all confident when I was talking to him, and as though good people say, I picked up a sapapa.
So the 12 teams that made the final round here, there are more than 12 Pro Bowl games, right? The Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. All the minor bowls still happened.
Yeah.
They still occurred.
But
they were with the 13 ranked, the team ranked 13th and below went to all the minor bowls.
Okay. So that's the way they split it up.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be a runner-up title after the minor team title.
Well,
it would be interesting.
College football is NFL is such a big business.
Absolutely.
College football has matured into a big business. I mean, you mentioned the portal, the guys moving around the portal. They move from one school to the other one and get $3-4 million.
Yeah. I mean, our top ranked player, which is our receiver, is making $4 million a year, right? And in college. And the good thing is, because I've said to people have been, we'll believe in the old. There's a few people that still hold out that view. I think college players should have been played a long time ago.
Yeah.
They put their bodies on the line. They make tons of money for those universities. Why should it have been that only the universities really benefit financially. And the truth is, it has done a good job at removing that seedy underbelly of college sports, where these players were getting paid for decades.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows there were illegal payments happening from down in the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
The family ended up with a new Cadillac.
That's right.
That's
right.
Extra things.
Yeah, what they would do is Booster would put the family up in an apartment, not put it in their name, but allow them to stay in the apartment. They would, quote unquote, lease a car to them, not put it in their name, but now all of a sudden mom and dad got a car to drive. So listen, there's been a lot of illegal payments for decades and decades.
I think back in the 50s it used to be a Cadillac.
Yeah, that would have been the thing. Of course, that absolutely would have been the thing.
Hey, look, Mr. Johnson's got a new Cadillac over there.
But nobody could prove anything, because what the dealer would do is the dealer would never change title, right? Including homes. They wouldn't even change the title on homes. They would simply allow the family to all of a sudden move into a nice home. And so now at least that bit of it is cleaned up. I think the next iteration needs to be, because there's 80-something scholarships, all the and they need to set an amount, whatever that is, $150, whatever it is, $1,000. Any player that can't through NIL get a certain amount ought to get a fixed minimum paid into a 401k or to themselves at their choice. Because I don't think a walk-on, just because he or she's a walk-on in whatever sport, shouldn't benefit because they're out there contributing to that team, right? The guys that you have to practice against is a big part of what makes you the superstar that you are.
Yeah, the sparring partner.
Yeah,
that's right.
And many of them wind up with injuries in the college process and never play another.
Yeah. But I don't know if you all have gotten to any predictions yet. But I know where somebody's going to be betting.
Indiana.
Well, I think it'll probably wind up to be one of the most competitive and best college playoff games.
And being it is taking place at the Hard Rock,
right in Miami.
In Miami, it's going to be
Miami.
Now the Miami will have the advantage.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Even because the thing that'll happen is a lot of people who are listening who follow college football will be like, well, no, not really, because the NCAA does do their predetermined split. They do their predetermined split, but the amount of tickets that get sold in the secondary market is where there winds up being a shift. So you're going to find Miami boosters and Miami alumni going out and buying tickets for exorbitant prices in the black market. And in the secondary market. I shouldn't use the word black market. In the secondary market. And so that's why I believe you're going to have a distinct advantage, home field advantage, I think, for the Miami Hurricanes, given that it's right in Miami.
Yeah, usually the home team has an advantage because
scalpers always have a career.
That's right,
and they'll make some money.
Big money.
We did mention before you came. We touched on that little thing called the super something or the other, and we were talking about just before we went on air about the Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, that the what may have been his last NFL play, and Loxy said he's going to make sure we talk a little bit about the pros before it's over.
Oh yeah, well, that's big business, the pros, and I mentioned before you came in, Rolly, that the odds seem to be on Seattle and Denver in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we did the 2 number 1 seeds. My bet is going to be a Buffalo Bills LA Rams Super Bowl. That's I'll go on record in saying that's who I think are going to make the Super Bowl. But certainly if you go to Vegas, the money is leaning toward the 2 number 1 seeds, which rarely happens, mind you. Very rarely do the 2 number 1 seeds from the conferences both make the Super Bowl. But they're both extremely well coached teams. They're both very sound defensively. So, it certainly wouldn't surprise me.
All 4 teams are very well put together this year. The Chiefs, they collapsed and went away, which was shocking. But in times gone past, I always remember the Seattle would always choke down towards the end of the season. So I don't know if they'll continue that tradition, but
I'm not even sure who because I haven't been following it that close. Who's their quarterback now, Seattle? It's
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, kind of cast off him.
Cast off. He bounced around the league. He was written off as as a bust, and then his career got revived in Minnesota. And then Minnesota decided to draft DJ McCarthy in the first round, which I think was a huge mistake, and let him walk. And so they let Sam Darnold walk, and he's gone to Seattle and now has proven it in a second stop that he is, a solid pro quarterback.
Lots of times that happened, many years ago with Johnny Unitas. He was actually, I think, a free agent with the Pittsburgh, and they traded him to Baltimore.
JJ, this is where we have to rely on the historian.
History.
See, Locke, I'm sorry to remind you, I was, I think I was 1. Would have been 73, somewhere around there. Or
no, actually, it would have been about 56 because he beat the Giants in the 19.
Oh yes, you're saying Johnny Unitas.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying Joe Namath. Sorry.
No.
Oh, good grief.
Joe Namath was around 69 when he was at his peak.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Johnny Unitas. Yeah. Oh, geez, I wasn't even good grief.
Not even a thought.
No, not at all.
But looking at the Cayman perspective, I know we have a lot of Caymanians in Tampa. Supporting Tampa. We have, of course, Miami. That goes without saying. And we have quite a few that still support Baltimore. And the fellas that came through Port Arthur, I think some of them still lean towards the Cowboys. And we always had a Steeler here and a Bears fan here. And, of course, with New England's run with Tom Brady over the last 20 years, a lot of them converted.
Yeah, but a lot of that was a younger crowd now, too, right? That's a younger crowd who sees a team that's winning and sort of just jumps on a bandwagon. A lot of that wasn't
Everybody likes a winner.
Well, listen, here's the thing, right? And look, this is why the two of us can talk sports and love sports so much. Whilst that's true, that's not a true sports fan. Bandwagoners are not true sports fans. I don't care what anybody says. And my grandfather moved to Tampa in the 50s. My dad's family then all moved to Tampa, and we're the only ones that wound up in Cayman. So guess where I spent all my summers, and guess where I consider then home away from home. That's why I'm a Buccaneers fan. I'm a Buccaneers fan because I went to Tampa from the first time I was 4 years old, right? Locke did his high school, etc., and as an alumni of the U, and had a team from back then when he was a young guy. And have you changed your team?
No, not.
You see, that's the thing. We listen. When the Bucs had 13 straight losing seasons, and everybody looked at me and were like, "Why are you wearing a Tampa Bay hat? They are always losing."
You're supposed to jump ship,
right? And a true fan has a team, and that's it. Win, lose, or draw. It's not about, I liked this player, so I'm following. I can grab a popular player too and say I like him, and then all of a sudden just follow him through his career. For me, it's all about you have a team, and it's your team, and that's that. You stick with your team, win, lose, or draw on you, and you live through the tough times, and you hope for better times.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought that Tampa might have made it into the first round.
Oh, another job.
The wild cards.
Another job. This is 2 jobs. The hat. So he beats me. He has on a hat, and he's reminding me that even my pro team sucked this year. But didn't make it. No. Yeah. Listen, Tampa is the most talented team in the NFC South. There's no doubt about that. It's the worst division in football. But, we went 6-2. Look at Tampa's wins. We beat Seattle. In Seattle. This season.
Yeah.
We beat the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, so we have some of the best wins. Listen to this. We lose at home to the New Orleans Saints when they were 2-9. We lose at home to Atlanta Falcons when we were 4-9. Coach doesn't get fired. What the owners have done in Tampa, in my opinion, this is why so many Tampa Bay fans are upset. The owners have basically said to the players, there's no accountability. Because the fact is, they've given Coach Bowles 5 years now. And he has proven, in my opinion, that he is just not going to cut it, right? And it's, to me, it's very unfortunate that they let all the assistants take the blame. So they fired 7 assistants and kept the head coach. But you know what? This is the last year for him, and he's going to have to sink or swim this year.
Well, right? those assistants are probably the one that has helped put the program together, because it takes a good 3 to 5 years to bring a program up to the level it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in high school in Florida, I went to American Senior High School in Hialeah, Miami Lakes. so we voted for the American High Patriots. So we would also like the New England Patriots. But of course, being in Miami, we had to go to University of Miami route.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, most folks in Miami are Dolphin fans,
Sure,
even though
that's your city.
they get disappointed every single season. But it's been a long time since Dan Marino and those boys in the early 70s were, stomping it pretty good.
You mentioned New England, and New England has been the big surprise this year, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought it would be a solid team because they brought in a very, very good head coach. Not that he's a Buckeye, but they brought in a very, very solid head coach. And the Titans made the biggest mistake of firing him, right? Listen, two things you have to live through in my mind if you're an owner. You have to give your head coach a play until you get a quarterback. I don't care who you are. Look at Bill Belichick. After Tom Brady, what happened? In his time in Cleveland, when he was a head coach and didn't have a franchise quarterback, what was his record? Right? His record, despite the fact that, let's face it, 6 Super Bowls, he's going to still be considered the greatest coach of all time. His record without a franchise quarterback was abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the reason why I personally thought we should have had a coaching change. We have Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield has proven over the last 3 years that he's a franchise quarterback. He's proven himself again. And for us to have wasted another good season, solid season by Baker, to me was unfortunate.
The combination of the coach and the quarterback, it goes down through history.
That's right.
I remember Roger Staubach back with the Cowboys.
Tom Landry.
And you remember the Dan Marino and Don Shula and Brady, and it works.
Yeah.
Bradshaw and Noel.
Yeah.
Okay. McCarthy / Favre. McCarthy and Rodgers. Holmgren and Favre. Right. Listen, very rarely do you have a team win a Super Bowl with a nondescript quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. Very, very rarely.
Johnson and Troy.
Yep. Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman. I mean, so you have to have that player. But I think this has been there's a lot of excitement left for the NFL, but coming down to wind up now for college. What how much longer do we have, JJ?
No, we got 28 minutes, but Loxley had a cut lined up here for talking about Caymanians playing football in the United States many years ago.
Yeah, this is just a four minute clip, and it was with Donnie Bodden.
Donnie Bodden and those guys,
and
yes.
Smith, and I edited down to 4 minutes, and and we said before you came in, back in the late 40s, there were Caymanians playing for Texas A&M.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah, and
something else.
Yeah, it's and of course throughout time, even up till recently, there was a Caymanian, I think, that he played for either SMU or TCU. Of course, he graduated and went in the Navy. I believe he's a naval officer now, somewhere. And and thinking back, Cayman has had a lot of really good athletes, and my mind goes back. We of course you've heard Devontae how he stormed in there just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah. Great time in the 60s.
Yeah,
and the young man that's swimming for SEAM Tennessee, SEAM volunteers.
Yeah. And I think back to, and you might have heard this name mentioned over the years, but Colbert Parson, he was a left-hander.
Okay.
And he was one of the fastest runners. Of course, he was in the class with Ivan and Alfred Alfred Hides, and Billy Banker was also in that kind of cadre, and Raby Hides. You remember Raby Hides? They were, and we didn't know anything about a stopwatch, so you never know how fast they were. But they were fast. They were fast runners.
No, we had some good athletes down through the years. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of it came down to we were very, very small, and a lot of Caymanians didn't put an emphasis, because I know some parents of Caymanians who grew up in the States who actively actually discouraged their children from participating in organized sports, because they would say, well, who's gonna make a living bouncing a ball or throwing a ball, because we grew up on that high work ethic, going to see hard work, find a vocation, find a career, and that's the way you make a living.
Same thing in the world of entertainment. Kid drops out of medical school to become an actor, and the parents are like, "Are you crazy? That's an artist. They live on the streets and blah blah blah." It's a funny thing because my brother was a little bigger than me, and 6'2" and 350 pounds, and the coach wanted us to play football for the American High football team, and my mother forbid us from playing football, but I was allowed to play baseball.
No, it was a real thing, and I know a few Caymanians who grew up in the States who give me that same story, that their parents just basically said, we don't want you to participate.
They thought football was too violent and could get hurt, so baseball was okay, track and field was okay, but not the football.
Well, it is a violent game.
It can be.
That it is.
Yeah, some of those hits that you see those guys take, you wonder just how in the heck they get back up.
Yeah, that's been a thing for the Dolphins over the last year or two with the guys getting concussions. Yeah. Is it Tua? Yeah. That's career ending in some cases.
Well, some players are kind of prone to getting shook up with the least little bang they get on their head.
And there's this. I don't know. I don't have the statistic, and I think I walked in without my phone. But there's a high correlation between getting a concussion and getting reconcussed, right? And so, you get that concussion once, and the brain trauma is.
And it also apparently, when they get older, it affects their mental.
Oh yes.
Muhammad Ali was a prime example of the hits to his head. That his brain was still there, but it lost the functions.
Well, we're going to go to that cut now, and this is Donnie Bawden talking, and actually Raul Smith has some commentary in there, so it's 4 minutes, so let's listen to it. And these guys were playing championship high school football in the Miami area, and it was in the early 60s.
I went to Miami Senior High School, and grew up in the 50s, and there was only like 4 high schools: Miami High, Coral Gables, Edison, and Jackson. There's so many now. And with the Super Bowl Cup, the last pro football team to go undefeated was the Dolphins, 17-0. And I look back on my high school career playing football at Miami High, and we were on all 3 years of high school. We were undefeated, never lost a game. And as a senior, we were city, state, and national. And I don't think they have a national playoff today. I think USA newspaper names like what they think is the number 1 team.
Yes.
So it was an honor to play, and we played our games on Thursday night in the Orange Bowl. So, we would win a big game, and you'd come back to school on Friday. And it was still, pretty cool. You didn't have the weekend to lose the thrill of winning a big game, because the University of Miami played on Friday night, and the Dolphins played on Sunday. And I often think about that when they, play a game when they said the only team was the Dolphins were 17-0, and we were undefeated.
Raul is around the table here with us. I think you played against him at Edison.
Yeah. How you doing, Raul?
Doing good, cuz.
I haven't seen you in
as they say, in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you played on Thursday night, especially Thanksgiving. The next day, I had all day to think about that after you beat us again.
Yeah, we played you guys for the state championship, didn't we?
That year, I think you played Gables, didn't you?
At the time, I went to Miami Senior High School, and grew up in the 50s, and there was only like 4 high schools: Miami High, Coral Gables, Edison, and Jackson. There's so many now. And with the Super Bowl Cup, the last pro football team to go undefeated was the Dolphins, 17-0. And I look back on my high school career playing football at Miami High, and we were on all 3 years of high school. We were undefeated, never lost a game. And as a senior, we were city, state, and national. And I don't think they have a national playoff today. I think USA newspaper names like what they think is the number 1 team.
Yes.
So it was an honor to play, and we played our games on Thursday night in the Orange Bowl. So, we would win a big game, and you'd come back to school on Friday. And it was still, pretty cool. You didn't have the weekend to lose the thrill of winning a big game, because the the University of Miami played on Friday night, and the Dolphins played on Sunday. And I often think about that when they, play a game when they said the only team was the Dolphins were 17-0, and we were undefeated.
Raul is around the table here with us. I think you played against him at Edison.
Edison, yeah. How you doing, Raul?
Doing good, cuz.
I haven't seen you in
as they say, in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you played on Thursday night, especially Thanksgiving. The next day, I had all day to think about that after you beat us again.
Yeah, we played you guys for the state championship, didn't we?
That year, I think you played Gables, didn't you?
At the time when we played for the national championship, it was the sports writers wrote up a team in California, a team in Georgia, and in a Baltimore Polytech, which was a boys' school, and that's who we played in the Orange Bowl. We beat them 21-7.
Yeah,
the write-up in the paper was Miami High plays the Baltimore Colts. Baltimore Polytech.
Yeah, back in them days, they used to bring down all these teams from Ohio and Baltimore Tech. There was that one in Ohio, the big team, Massillon and all them, and someone out of Louisiana, and I think we got some out of Texas.
Yeah.
And they came down to Miami, and they went back crying like a bunch of babies.
I heard talking about a football player that played in for Florida State.
Yes.
I don't know his name, but that was Edsel Panton's son.
Right, yes, I know Mr. Edsel's son, yeah. Talking about those games in Orange Bowl, especially Miami High Gables or Miami High Edison and Jackson, because they were the big games. They'd draw 40,000, 50,000 people in the Orange Bowl.
It was on.
The Orange Bowl is a storied stadium, and tell us. I remember seeing your name splashed all over the Miami Herald sports page. Mike, it might have been front page when you threw that, the long 31, 45-yard halfback pass, because you played halfback, right?
Yeah, I was a pretty good athlete. I played defensive back, offensive back, and took punts and kickoff. The only time I didn't play was when we kicked off for the other team.
I'm sure you must have had some real good offers from some of the colleges, Florida State, Miami.
Yeah, I had University of Miami, Florida State, talk to me and send me letters and stuff like that. But luckily, I tell you, I wasn't too interested in school. But sometimes I think about it. I didn't miss much because I don't know what, a different direction. I kind of feel I'm retired here in a retirement community in Tampa, and I feel like, I didn't miss out on too much.
Well, just to give you a little background about Donnie, his parents from West Bay, they were born up there at the end of Bogasan Road, and in fact, some of the Caymanians around Miami at the time, when you were playing excellent football, saying we think he's got some of that Bogasan dig in him.
Well, I tell you what, I was growing up in the 50s. There was like a Caymanian community around the area. A lot of the people knew each other, and my mother was a real good cook. And they, I guess what they call a rundown. When I played high school football, the coach would tell you, tonight just eat something like Jell-O or something like that. And when I'd get home, my mother would have a big fish too, or red beans and sea pie ready for me to eat. Didn't bother me. I have it.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
Brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call me today, Michael Webster, at 925-5433.
UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
Super Jam.
Also brought to you by
Cayman Airways. Call them at 949-2311 to book your non-stop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
And Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
The #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
For the Record with Ort Connor.
Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your home.
Hear from your government and community leaders on issues and events concerning the Cayman Islands and its residents during Radio Cayman's For the Record talk radio program, airing each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning from 7:30 to 10.
For the Record.
For the Record.
For the Record
is brought to you by JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. For more information, visit jnmoneyonline.com. shaken yet standing firm.
I was not built to break.
This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
And a special edition of Radio Cayman Sports Extra talking about American football. Radio Cayman's Loxley Banks and the Honorable Ralston Anglin talking about all of the action that's going to be taking place shortly here on planet Earth, including next Monday night. And go ahead, Mr. Banks, it's yours.
Well, next Monday night is the big college championship game between the University of Miami and the University of Indiana. And, we were saying, they're closely matched team, so it should be one heck of a game.
I think so. I mean, I think this should be a fantastic national championship game. And Mr. Banks, for those who haven't heard, because I know one thing that happens during these shows, some of them might pick it up a little late. I just want to make sure that Caymanians realize Mr. Banks is a Hurricane. He's not a Hurricane fan. He's an alumni, right? So, and I tell people that all the time. I don't mean that to sound anyway, but it is just a fact. I mean, it's one thing to be a fan of a university. It's a very different thing to have attended, right? Because once you've attended, that is your school. That's your alma mater. That ownership never goes away. Just like, a lot of people get surprised. Like, why do you like Ohio State? Well, because I went there. That's where I graduated. That's where I did my undergrad, and that's where I graduated from, right?
Just take a look at the rings on the fingers, and you'll know.
So, yeah. So I think a lot of people, not to try and disclose his age, but a lot of people wouldn't have thought that Mr. Banks would have been an alumni. So he's not just a Caymanian who lived in Miami, but he's a Hurricane.
And don't forget, he's a Air Force veteran of the United States.
Of course. An illustrious career. That's why I love spending the time in the studio when we get this time.
But his friends in West Bay call him Lockie and said, he never went to sea. He might have been in them plane things, but he didn't go to sea. Interesting, during the clip there that we had discussing the Cayman activities in football in the U.S., we were talking about getting towards the playoffs here in the finals and people having turnovers and unfortunately changing the color of the game. And Ralston gave us, while we're off mic, play-by-play of how, unfortunately, the Ohio State had gotten beat. And they shocked us by telling us the quarterback there may have been 19 years old.
Yeah, he's
a young freshman.
Young kid, redshirt freshman. And again, talking about the portal, we got him out of the portal. He was the number one recruit in the year before his recruiting cycle. And no surprise, he committed to Alabama. But once Nick Saban retired, he went into the portal, and that's how we managed to get him. And so this was his first year as a starter, and that's part of the reason why I'm really, really optimistic about the future, because we know he's going to have to stay in college for at least 2 more years under NFL rules. And I feel very comfortable that we're going to be set at the most important position.
And if he's playing at this level, this early of an age, he's just going to get better.
Yeah, he's not going to make those same mistakes. And it was an unfortunate. I feel for him, because I hate when a game, I'd rather just get beat and you just get outmaneuvered and outplayed. But I know just from watching the interviews and hearing some of the things in Columbus since then, he's obviously taken accountability, but he's taken a lot of responsibility. And I know that must be the weight of the world to be 19, 20 years old and to know that you've had a great season and one really, really bad read swings the game. And we went from 7 driving to tie the score to being down 14-0. And the team never recovered, right? After that pick 6, we never recovered. But give it to University of Miami, and I tell this to people all the time. That DB, that was great coaching, great studying of the tape, and he made an absolutely phenomenal play. He jumped the route and took it back. So I came away from this game, and a lot of times as a fan, when you lose a game, you look back and you're moaning and groaning and you're making all these different. Listen, University of Miami deserved it, and then they beat us. I make no excuses but to give all the credit to Cristobal and his staff. They completely outcoached us in that game.
And when we were talking also, the predictions coming up towards the end here, I've been reading some of the stuff online, and a lot of these pundits are saying that Indiana is going to take the Hurricanes, but I know in the past, from way back when Doug Flutie was throwing magic passes, once there's a magic in the air, University of Miami can beat anybody.
Of course.
Well, it goes back to their first championship in 1983 when they played in Nebraska. Nebraska was undefeated. They had the Heisman Trophy winner. They had Irvin Fryer, which was a
great receiver.
A great receiver, and they had All-American quarterback, and then they had Steinkiller, I think, was a huge tackle that they had. And Ara Parsegian, who had coached Notre Dame to a championship year, the 2 or 3 years before, his comment was that he was asked, to comment on what he thought about the game, and he said, "Too much firepower, too much firepower." But then Lynn Dawson, who had been a NFL, actually AFL championship quarterback with the, I guess it was what is now the Kansas
City Chiefs.
Yeah, they started as Texans, but he said no, because at that time Miami was one of the few teams that was running some kind of pro-style offense.
Yep.
And
over Schnetzelberger.
And who was the team now?
Nebraska against Miami,
Nebraska
and the big upset happened.
Yeah. Nebraska was, as they all say,
they were overwhelming favorites.
Yeah. It was 3 years in a cloud of dust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nowadays they've got legal betting in Vegas and the casinos and everything else. So not only has paying football players in college a new thing, and now with the betting and all this, and with the fantasy football league, that thing is huge.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. But to the point, right? The great thing about all sports, especially games like American football and World Cup finals, etc., single elimination. It's not a series. That means that on any given day, because when it's a series, generally speaking, the better team wins. When it's a best of 5, best of 7, the better team is going to usually win because you have to get the first team to win 4 games, right?
Yeah.
NFL, NCAA, World Cup, those are single elimination, right? You win or go home.
It's like a boxing match.
And so on any given day, no matter what Vegas says, no matter what the odds are and what the spread is, any team can beat another team, right? And just like back in 83, Miami was a heavy underdog. I remember in 87, Miami was a heavy favorite against Penn State.
Yeah.
Miami in that game had the Heisman Trophy winner themselves, Vinny Testaverde.
True.
They had the great defense. They had the great receivers. They had the great everything. Penn State picks off Testaverde 5 times, including at the goal line to end the game and win it. So, listen, just because Indiana has the Heisman Trophy winner and is seen as the hot new team who has never won an NCAA championship, doesn't mean that they are unbeatable. And I think they definitely are not unbeatable. And so I think Miami has as good a shot as any. Miami plays great defense, and that DL that they have, if they're going to win, that DL has to play the way they played against Ohio State. If they can replicate the pressure from the Ohio State game, in my opinion, they'll beat Indiana. If Indiana's offensive line holds up, I think Indiana wins the game.
Yeah. That's where the battle is going to be, right? On that offensive line.
Yeah.
So that leads us here now to start wrapping things up. It's looking like maybe 2 of you are going for University of Miami. Is that your prediction for next Monday night?
Who do you want to go first, Locke? You want me or you?
Well, I'll take it.
I think age
you
goes
know where
first.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Yeah. I think the University, the way they've been playing, and if the quarterback has a good game, I think they'll take it. And of course, Bain and the other end.
They're awesome.
Yeah, and but it's going to be a tough route.
Yeah. So JJ, you read me wrong. I actually think Indiana is going to win. Now, part of that is because they're a Big Ten team and they're in my conference. And so the rule of thumb, as Lockie knows, that the rule of thumb in college football typically is if your team doesn't win it, you would like your conference to win it because you get conference bragging rights, right? I think Indiana's going to win for 3 reasons. When Signetti took over the program, listen to this, JJ, they were the losingest team in NCAA history. The losingest.
Wow.
Of all universities, of all Division I universities, they had the most losses in school history. Okay? So they're a basketball team. They were never, ever, ever any good at football. They would get a couple of good players here and there and do okay and make a bowl game. But usually they were the team that was 3-9, 3-8, always stunk, never really won anything. I just think that people are looking at the single season as Miami having sort of a Cinderella run. I think Indiana's had a Cinderella 3-year run. And I think Signetti got his team so focused based on the loss in the playoff last year that they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. And I just think that the moment is not going to, if this was their first year in the playoff and had never gotten there, I would doubt it. But I think they're hardened, they're seasoned. That loss last year in the playoff really has cemented them, and I think that they're going to be the team because of the quarterback. And the third thing, I said 3 things. The third thing that I think is a factor. Miami's quarterback this season, part of the reason they only scraped into the playoff, and it was controversial around them getting in and being one of the last teams in, is their quarterback cost him a few games this year.
Yes.
He had a few stinkers.
Yeah.
He has been impeccable in the playoffs, and I just kind of got that feeling that the Cinderella shoe is going to fall off for him. And I think this is going to be the game where he doesn't perform as well as he has, because he has so far in the playoffs he's been impeccable.
Oh yeah, yes.
Well, I'm going to give the accountant breakdown here. I'm giving Indiana 70% chance of winning.
Oh dear.
And Hurricanes 30%.
Oh, Lucky. Lucky, I couldn't go that way. I know I'm not that mean. I'm not that uncharitable. I don't think it's 70-30, but I get it. But boy, oh boy, he gave me some rough odds.
Yeah, I know. Well, but we'll see. We'll see next Monday night what happens then.
I think it'll be a good game, though. I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
I really think this is genuinely going to be a good game.
And there's so many variables, so many in a game that you could never think of what would happen.
Nobody thought this going. Anyone that bet this combination at Vegas in the beginning of the season has made a lot of money today.
But the last time we had it next door, I did say Miami. You said Ohio.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So it would have been a good bet. And what about the pros now? We're getting the games now that the teams are starting to come together. There's a good possibility.
Listen,
Buffalo and
here's my thing. First of all, we didn't cover this at all, but we've had 2 legendary coaches end their run. John Harbaugh, 18 years in Baltimore. And Tomlin, 19 years in Pittsburgh, right? To anytime a team in any pro sport can make it past 10 years, you've done extremely well in any of the team's sports in America.
You're an institution.
Yeah. But the team that I am most scared about in the AFC is Houston. You saw it on display last night, right? You saw it on display last night. But I'm still leaning Buffalo, LA Rams. That's my Super Bowl pick.
And you, Loxley?
Well, I think Buffalo has a good chance. I mean, they've been. I looked at some statistics yesterday. I think they have the most wins in playoff games. Or the quarterback
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is, I think, Brady. I think had 8 playoff wins. I think he's got 6, and the next one down was the KC quarterback. But it's Josh time, I think, and between Seattle, Seattle plays San Francisco this weekend, and San Francisco has lost Kittle.
Yeah.
Kittle's out. One of their main weapons, and I think that's going to affect their play really deeply.
So you're thinking the Seattle Seahawks will be in there?
I think they will beat San Francisco.
But who do you think? Super Bowl, without even seeing the division round this week, who do you think?
Well, I'm thinking Seattle and Buffalo.
Okay.
I thought you said earlier Denver.
No, he said a lot of people were saying that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was saying a lot of people were saying that. Yeah.
But Denver is a good team, and their coach
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton,
he's a Super Bowl winner.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, he's the one that knocked off Peyton Manning. Don't forget, in that Super Bowl. When he was a heavy underdog as a New Orleans Saints coach.
And he's built that team over the last 3 years.
That's right.
He's been there and done that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Elway was the man. And
yes.
Everybody was looking at Denver back in the day.
Yeah. And remember, Elway is always a good story in sports. 3 Super Bowl losses. Everybody had said he'll never win one. He's never win one. He never win one. And eventually won 2 Super Bowls.
Back to back now.
Back to back.
I always think Denver has a little advantage over everybody else, like the guys that play up north in the cold, the Patriots.
The altitude in Denver is a huge advantage. Listen.
Yeah, it creates a better athlete.
Yeah, and Buffalo is going to be extremely challenged. I just think it's Josh Allen time. I think that's the thing that we both agree on the AFC side, right? It's Josh Allen time. I just got a feeling that this is his year. No Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow, no Lamar Jackson. The truth is, and this is the way I think most prognosticators look at it, if Josh Allen can't make it out of the AFC this year, when will he make it? With this 3 mean competition.
Yeah. On the sidelines.
And this would be his year to shine.
Yeah. It's and he's a big man. I mean, you see, he don't look that big because he's really sculptured.
He's a huge quarterback.
Yeah.
6'4", almost 240. He's a big quarterback, and can run the way he can run.
And sculptured,
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he's a great athlete.
He's smart.
The quarterbacks with the height always seem to have the advantage, and the loose feet. They can make things happen on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mr. Banks, you want to wrap us up?
Well, we want to thank our good friend, the Honorable Ralston Anglin, for coming in and chatting with us here. He's a huge football fan, college and NFL, and Cayman, as we said, over the years, have had many really good athletes too. Never have really got their
due.
Their due, because there was not the opportunity. If some of those guys back in the late 40s and early 50s that was around Cayman at the time had the opportunity that these guys have now, boy, it would have been, Cayman would have had a lot of accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Raleigh, for coming in and sharing with us. And JJ, thanks for your assistance.
Yeah, special edition, the football. I remember the old days. Everybody'd head down to the Lone Star Bar and Grill or one of the Dirty Reeds or someplace, because we only had to catch the game on the satellite. And everybody would gather, and it was like a big fight with Tyson or Foreman or somebody or Pacquiao. We'd all head down to one of the local establishments, and hopefully we're going to have some fireworks next Monday night. And in a couple of weeks, you guys will be back.
Super Bowl edition, God's willing?
Yeah, God's willing. We can do
Deal.
it. Yeah.
And that does it for Radio Cayman Sports Extra for tonight. Radio Cayman's very own Loxley Banks and the Honorable Ralston Anglin and myself, JJ the Iceman. Thanks for listening. Have yourself a great night.
Sports Extra. From 7 to 8 p.m., highlights of local sports around the Cayman Islands. Sports Extra.
It's amazing to see the improvement of the team.
Sports Extra, keeping you informed.
Keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Music Express.
Music Express.
This is where the ride begins. A magical musical journey.
Music Radio Cayman's Music Express.
Like she don't care. Smooth as silk, cool as air. Ooh, it makes you wanna cry. She doesn't know your name, and your heart beats like a subway train. Ooh, it makes you wanna die. Ooh, don't you wanna take her? Wanna make her all your own. Maria, you've gotta see her. Go insane and out of your mind. Regina, Ave Maria. A million and one candlelight. I've seen this thing before in my best friend Dan, the boy next door. Fool for love and fool on fire. Coming from the rain, she's oceans running down the drain. Blue as ice and desire. Don't you wanna make her? Don't you wanna take her home? Maria, you've gotta see her. Go insane and out of your mind. Regina, Ave Maria. A million and one candlelight. Don't you wanna break her? Ooh, don't you wanna take her home? She walks like she don't care. You wanna take her everywhere. Ooh, it makes you wanna cry. She's like a millionaire walking on imported air. Ooh, it makes you wanna die. Maria, you've gotta see her. Go
my life has passed me by. I'll lay